Today on TFL Bike, we are doing a fleet update on all the motorcycles that we have in our office right now, and it's actually a lot of them.
Yeah, this is probably the most we've had at one time in a long time, maybe ever. And yeah, we figured we'd just kind of run you through what we've got, talk about some of the videos we've done with some of these bikes, because some of them are leaving soon. So we'll do kind of a wrap up and then talk to you about what we might be getting next.
Yeah, so starting at this end of the line, we have the CakeCalc. This is a bike that we've made a couple brief videos with, but we haven't done a full-on review, and that's still upcoming. Andy got out on this bike. That's why you see the tires and everything are all dirty. He took it off-road, tested it out, and we'll leave some of that suspense in there of what his thoughts were on it. But this is such a cool bike. What's really cool about it is this entire package is about 165 pounds, 15 horsepower. It is expensive. This is the most spec'd out suspension that you can get on this bike. So it's 14 grand. It's got full Öhlins. It's a really nicely engineered piece of kit. But this, as well as the other Cake bike that we'll get to in a moment, these are going away fairly soon.
Yeah, one of the coolest parts about this bike are the different ride modes. So let me turn it on real quick. So it powers up, and you've got two really simple controls right here for ride. So I forget what they name these three.
It's Excel, Explore, Excite.
Yeah, exactly. So basically just power modes, but the cool part is the brake regen mode. So if you're on one, that's basically like your freewheel mode, but they call these 2-stroke and 4-stroke modes for the amount of regen braking you're gonna get out of it.
Yeah, so they name it mimicking a little bit of what gas bikes do in their regen, or not regen, but engine braking, which is cool. Just the entire design and engineering behind this bike is really pretty badass. And that video is coming very soon.
Yeah, you'll be interested to hear Andy's thoughts on it. He's an old school dirt bike guy who just loves gasoline. So
yeah,
you'll have to stay tuned for that, because he had some interesting thoughts on that.
And then speaking of Andy, we have this 1970 Honda CT70 that is going to be going for auction soon to benefit a charity called Biker Down. This is a bike that Andy completely went through, full engine rebuild. Every consumable part on this bike he replaced. Functionally, it's 100%, and then cosmetically, I mean, look at it. He repainted the covers of the engine when he went through and did the rebuild. He spent so much time cleaning up the chrome. And then my favorite part is that this is original paint with original patina, but he wet sanded and buffed the whole thing. New decals that are genuine Honda decals. So this bike is beautifully put together, and it's going to be going for auction on TFL bids very soon.
I love the attention to detail on it. Just like the stickers for, always wear a helmet. Everything is where it's supposed to be from the factory, and it's just a crazy time capsule.
Yeah, so super awesome bike that's going to be going up for auction soon, and there's a bunch of videos on this, an entire series that shows the process that Andy went through making it as nice as it is, because when he grabbed it out of his pile of CT70 frames, and I mean pile, he has 17 CT70 frames still. This was just pieces. It was an empty frame, motor out of it. So you can see the entire process of this bike going back together.
Yeah, and all those build series episodes are already up on TFL Bike. So if you want to see the process Andy went through and the work that was actually done to this bike to make it look like what it's looking like today, go check out those videos.
Yeah, and we did some off-road riding, so a really cool video series that you can check out at any point. And then we have a staple that's been in our fleet for a very long time. This is Tommy's Honda Monkey. And we've taken this to Moab. We've done MPG videos with it. We've taken it all over the state and off-roaded it. We recently did a long-term update on this bike where we talked at length about our ownership experience with it. So we won't go into a crazy amount of detail, but basically our ownership experience with this bike has just been great. Minor things like the headlight coming out because of some of the more, unnecessarily rough riding that we've done with it off-road. Headlight was popping off, and the bolts that hold the front of the seat down, those backed out. But otherwise, I mean, this bike has just been flawless.
Yeah, this is the reason right here. I actually bought a Monkey. I fell in love with this bike, just kind of riding it around here. And I think we'll always have a Mini Moto in our lineup here. You guys seem to love them. We love them. So yeah, we'll pretty much always have one. This bike's going to be sticking around for a while. I think the only way we'd probably get rid of it is if that Dax lands here in the
If the
States.
Dax comes out, that might have to be a consideration.
This is going, yeah. So yeah, the
worthwhile.
Cake is on loan. We're returning that soon. This is getting auctioned soon. This we're probably holding on to for a while. Again, unless a new mini moto comes out, we'll probably swap it out for.
Yeah, and then another bike in our fleet that we actually own is this Aprilia Taurus 660. This is one of the more recent additions to our fleet. This is a very cool middleweight adventure bike, although looking at it next to the rest of the bikes in this lineup, you wouldn't think it's a middleweight. It is tall. It's a large bike. It looks very big in here next to the rest of these, especially because this bodywork comes up so much. But even at 5'10" in my boots, I can flat foot this bike. So it's not actually ridiculously big, but just a really nice bike, really nice to ride. We've got a couple videos with it already. We took it on an adventure down to Denver in the rain, and you can see that it's a little dirty from that.
Yeah, we haven't washed it yet.
Yeah, we need to do that. And then another thing that we need to do is produce a video actually taking this bike off-road and showing more of what it's capable
Yeah,
of.
we should take it up to the ranch. I think Andre's Pit would be a fun place to ride this around.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really badass bike. Love this color scheme. This is an extra $600. Total price $12,599. But this color scheme is definitely worth it. Really makes the bike pop. It's beautifully put together.
Yeah, I was really excited about this bike because I heard great things about the RS 660 and the Tuono 660. A little bit different engine tuning in this bike, but I was really excited to get our hands on it, and we still have a lot to do with it. So
yeah,
this isn't going anywhere anytime soon.
And then we have two motorcycles loaned to us from Honda. We've had these two for a while. We picked them out at Honda's facility in Torrance in California. We have the CBR 500R, which is a more entry-level, I mean, it's kind of a sport bike.
Yeah,
but it's not,
I'd call it a sport bike. It's like a comfortable cruiser of a sport bike.
It's deceptive, though, because, I mean, the design of this bike, it looks like a very aggressive, fast bike, but it's more comfortable and more compliant than you would think.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I've done a lot of riding on this. It's the same motor we had in the CB500X we had last summer. And yeah, just bare bones, simple motorcycle, no riding modes. It does have ABS, so the things a beginner rider would want to keep you safe on the road. But beyond that, it's just twist and go. It's really, really simple and not much to think about. It's a really easy bike to ride and pretty affordable too.
Yeah, it's pretty affordable, although I know you've had a decent amount of experience in this category of bikes. I mean, you had a KTM RC390. That was your initial track bike, your first track bike. And I know of the bikes in this category, this is not necessarily your pick. Right?
I've owned an R3 as well, which also competes with this. I haven't had a Ninja 400, but that's also competition. And for some reason, this seems to be the last pick among all those bikes for whoever's buying it. But it's a good bike. It's got more power than you would expect. And yeah, it can keep up on the highway perfectly fine. Better, I think, than my RC390 would have.
Yeah, in its class, if you want to maximize horsepower, this will maximize horsepower, but it really depends on what you're looking for. Like you said, this is not a bad bike by any means, but I mean, based on your recommendation.
For the price, I think there's
a
maybe
lot of
some
other
better
good
options out there.
Yeah. Something that is really hard to beat is the Honda Grom. These retail for $3,500. They're very well put together. I mean, the build quality on this is the same as that, same as a full-size bike. It's really well painted, well engineered, a well-equipped bike. And this new generation of the Grom gets you a lot of additional features, biggest being that it's a 5-speed. You get a gear position indicator, which is really nice to have.
Replaceable oil filter.
Yep. So a lot of good improvements on this new version of the Grom. I personally like the styling of it better. It's a little bit more rounded out, arguably a little bit more retro. But this is a fantastic bike. Really, I mean, the Benelli is also another good alternative to the Grom.
The Z125 from Kawasaki too.
Right.
So
there are other options out there.
Both of those have been unchanged for a while. So if you want something modern and new, get the Grom.
There's other options out there, but Honda kind of rules this mini moto segment, and for good reason. I mean, really, probably our favorite competitor to this bike, the only thing that we would personally pick over it would be the Monkey.
Yeah, I just love the build quality on the Monkey. The tank is what really sells me. I love the metal tank versus the plastic on this.
Plastic here.
But what I do love about the Grom is the community around it and the aftermarket support. It's just endless. So you get that on the Monkey too, but if you really want to customize your mini moto, the Grom is the better option over the Benelli, over the Z125, and over the Monkey.
Yeah, and then finally at the end of our line, we have the other Cake bike we've been testing over the last couple of weeks. This is the Cake OSA Plus, $10,500, so it is expensive, being that it's a 125cc equivalent bike. So these two are more or less in the same class of bike, but this is a full-on motorcycle. You need a motorcycle license to ride it. It's registered, and the cool thing about it is that it's a very modular bike that you can customize with storage solutions. You can put a basket on the front of it.
Yeah, you can. This headlight is on an extendable wire, so like Kay said, basket goes in the front, headlight pulls right out without needing to rewire anything. You can put more seats on it, you can put surfboard racks on it, a rack in the back. There's a ton of accessories for this bike.
My personal favorite version of the OSA is the work version of it, which kind of looks like a futuristic army bike. It has some of those storage features already built into it. That one is a really cool bike to look at, although it's a bit more expensive. The work equivalent of this bike, the work version is $12,500, so it's more expensive. But yeah, this one is fitted with a passenger seat. That's removable. You can put storage on the back of this bike, and then the actual primary rider's seat can be moved back and forth, so you can pick your riding position. You've got big platforms to put your feet on here.
Snow tires.
Yeah, it's got snow tires, actual snow rated tires, which is kind of funny. You don't see that on motorcycles a ton, but siping on the tires here. So it's a really unique bike. We recently did a range test with this versus the Grom, and we managed 30.7 miles. We weren't hypermiling it.
I was surprised with that number too. That was impressive for me.
Cake claims that you can get up to 52 miles of range if you're doing lower speed city riding. A lot of the riding that we were doing was on faster roads, and we weren't taking it any easier than we would riding normally. And it managed 30.7 miles. So definitely compared to gas, not a huge number, but enough to get you, or to get us, to work and back.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, just like the Calc that we started with down on the other end, this is on loan and it's going back pretty soon. So yeah, like we said, a lot of these bikes are leaving pretty soon and we got to figure out what to do next. Yeah. So that's kind of what we wanted to ask you.
We want your help to know what brand new bikes that are coming out you want to see on the channel. We have obviously the opportunity to work with manufacturers to test out different bikes that are coming out. There's also some bikes that we've been keeping our eye out for to include in our long-term fleet, so not just press loans.
And we hear you on the TW200. We're working on it. We're trying to find one.
We're looking for a TW200, so we will tell you now that a TW200 is almost certainly the next bike that you're going to see us as a company actually buy, because there's a lot of testing that we can do with it.
Yeah, but anything else that's out there that you want to, us to try to get on loan or try and buy so we can do some videos on, let us know. We kind of want to gauge your interest down in the comments. And as always, head on over to alltfl.com so you don't miss any of the motorcycle content we do. Yeah. And also tflbids.com, because that Trail 70 down here, that's going up for sale pretty soon.
Yeah, you're going to be able to bid on this bike. It's just unbelievably well sorted, and the money is going to a good cause. So keep an eye out on TFL Bids for it, because whoever ends up with this bike is going to be very lucky.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.